You've just stepped into the motivation library, a place where struggles turn into stories of strength and dreams transform into destinies. Every book is a path, every chapter a step forward. Today, we walk a new path. Let's begin. Preface: when the world goes quiet. And then one day, life stopped pretending. It happens quietly. One morning, you wake up, and the person staring back from the mirror feels like a stranger. The smile doesn't reach your eyes anymore. The laughter feels rehearsed. And the life you built with such effort suddenly feels hollow. It's not depression. It's awakening. The walls you've built around your soul begin to crack. And through those cracks, something ancient, something true, begins to whisper. This isn't who you are. The unseen moment before everything changes. Before every rebirth, there is a breaking. Before every transformation, there is a silence so deep it feels like death. It's the silence after you've given your all. After you've chased dreams that didn't fit. After you've been the version of yourself everyone else needed. Except you. And in that stillness, that sacred, terrifying stillness, life strips away everything false. So the truth can finally breathe. That moment, when you stand at the edge of who you were, and the unknown stretches out before you. That is where the art of standing alone begins. The Fire and the Mirror. This is not a book about loneliness. It's a book about liberation. It's about the moments when you are stripped bare of approval, of certainty, of control, and you're forced to meet the only person you can never escape, yourself. It's about learning to walk through the fire without begging for rescue, to face your shadows and find gold in the ashes, to listen to silence and realize it's been speaking to you all along. Standing alone is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your becoming. The Night I Broke. I wrote this book after a night I'll never forget. No audience, no stage, no mask left to hold. Just me, sitting on the cold floor of my apartment. The noise of the world finally gone. The silence so heavy it felt alive. I remember whispering, I don't know who I am anymore. And for the first time, the silence whispered back, perfect, now we can begin. That night didn't destroy me, it unveiled me. It showed me that solitude is not punishment, it's preparation. That rock bottom is not the end, it's the ground upon which you build truth. Why this book exists? This book was born from that space. The place between endings and awakenings. It's not a map of success. It's a mirror for your soul. A cinematic journey through the inner landscapes we all hide behind smiles and screens. Every chapter is a piece of that journey, from breaking to rebuilding, from silence to strength, from emptiness to infinite purpose. You'll find stories here, some true, some metaphorical, but all designed to touch that sacred part of you that's been waiting to be remembered. Because the truth is this: you are not broken, you are not behind, you are not lost. You are in the in-between, the sacred space where the old dissolves, so the new can rise. The invitation. If you've ever felt like you're standing in the ruins of what used to be, this book is your firelight. If you've ever felt unseen, unheard, or misunderstood, this is your mirror. And if you've ever felt the ache of outgrowing who you once were, this, right here, is your awakening. Because one day, you will look back and realize that standing alone was never loneliness. It was alignment. The solitude you feared became the silence that saved you. The darkness you cursed became the womb of your light. And the life you thought was falling apart was actually falling into place. The rebirth. So as you turn these pages, I invite you to do something radical. To stop running. Sit with your pain. Listen to your silence. Let the fire strip away what's false. Because beneath it all, what remains is not your weakness. It's your wholeness. This isn't a story of survival. It's a story of return to the infinite within you. And when you finish this book, I hope you'll realize what I did. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to stand out and stand alone until your light guides others home. One last truth before we begin. The journey ahead isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you've always been, before the world told you otherwise. So take a breath, leave your old story at the door, and step into this one. Your story, the story of a soul, learning the sacred art of standing alone. Chapter 1. The Silence Before the Storm. It always begins quietly. Not with thunder, not with tears, but with a subtle unease that creeps into your soul like the slow dimming of a light you didn't realize was fading. You wake up one morning, and something feels hollow. The laughter that once filled the room sounds rehearsed. The faces that once inspired you now feel distant, blurred, like characters in a dream you're slowly forgetting. You look in the mirror and see the same eyes, but behind them, something has shifted. You can't name it yet, but you know, you've outgrown something. A chapter, a season, maybe even a version of yourself. That's how the silence before the storm begins. The moment everything changes. I remember the night everything inside me cracked. It wasn't dramatic, no lightning, no chaos. Just me, sitting in my car at 2 a.m., parked outside an empty parking lot, staring at the steering wheel as if it held answers. Everything looked fine on the outside. Good job, good friends, good mask. But somewhere deep within, the echo grew louder. Is this really who I am? That question, it's a spark disguised as pain. It burns quietly at first, then ignites every illusion you've built around yourself. That night, I broke down, not because life had fallen apart, but because I had finally stopped pretending that I was okay. And in that collapse, I discovered something no one ever told me. Sometimes your breakdown is not your ending. It's your soul's way of asking to begin again. The truth about solitude. Standing alone isn't glamorous. It's not candlelit journaling and self-care playlists. It's sitting with your own chaos when the world goes silent and realizing no one else can clean it up for you. It's saying no when everyone expects you to say yes. It's walking away from the crowd not because you're superior, but because you're finally brave enough to choose peace over noise. You begin to notice how much of your identity was built on validation, how many of your dreams were borrowed from other people's expectations. And then, in that raw silence, something beautiful happens. You start hearing your own voice again. A whisper at first, then a rhythm, then a calling. The psychology of stillness. Psychologists call it ego death. Spiritual teachers call it awakening. But in truth, it's neither dramatic nor divine at first. It's deeply human. When you strip away distractions, you confront the parts of yourself you've neglected, the anger, the envy, the fear of not being enough. The silence becomes a mirror. And in that mirror, you meet the you behind the performance. Modern psychology teaches that solitude strengthens the self-concept, your understanding of who you are beyond relationships, roles, and recognition. But solitude is not isolation. Isolation is escape. Solitude is expansion. In solitude, you are not running from the world. You are returning to yourself. Story: The Monk and the Mountain. There's an old story of a young monk who asked his master, "Master, what must I do to find peace?" The master replied, "Go to the mountain and sit until you learn to listen." So the monk climbed the mountain and sat for a day. Nothing. He sat for a week. Still nothing. Angry and impatient, he returned to the master. "Master, the mountain said nothing to me." The master smiled. "Then you weren't listening. Go back. Sit again." The monk returned, this time with no expectation, no search, no demand. He sat for days, then weeks, until one morning, as the sun rose over the mist, he heard it. Not the mountain, but his own heartbeat, the rhythm of his breath, the quiet hum of life itself. That's when he realized, peace was never something to be found. It was something to be remembered. Reflection, the uncomfortable truth. Most people avoid being alone because silence reveals truth. Truth about who they are. Truth about what they've settled for. Truth about the parts of themselves they've betrayed just to belong. But here's the secret. The silence that scares you is also the silence that will save you. You cannot become powerful until you become peaceful. And you cannot become peaceful until you face your own noise. Standing alone is not a punishment, it's preparation. Preparation for clarity, for alignment, for mastery. Because only in solitude can you hear the voice of your higher self, the one that's been whispering beneath the chaos all along. The transformation begins. When you start standing alone, people will misunderstand you. They'll call you distant, different, detached. They won't understand that you're not pulling away from them. You're pulling toward yourself. You'll have moments of doubt, of loneliness so deep it aches. But on the other side of that ache lies strength. A quiet, grounded strength that doesn't need applause to feel alive. And that's the secret most never discover. The person who learns to stand alone becomes unstoppable, not because they don't need anyone, but but because they no longer depend on anyone to be whole. Cinematic closing. One day, you'll look back at this season, the solitude, the confusion, the long nights, and you'll realize it was never meant to break you. It was sculpting you. Like pressure carves diamonds, silence shapes souls. You'll realize that in the quiet, when no one was watching, you became someone different, someone rooted, someone real, someone ready to rise. That's the art of standing alone. Not to isolate, but to integrate. Not to escape, but to evolve. Not to harden, but to awaken. Key takeaways. Solitude is not loneliness. It's the birthplace of self-discovery. This silence before the storm is life's invitation to awaken. Your breakdown is often your soul's breakthrough. When you stop performing for others, you begin aligning with your truth. Peace comes when you stop running from your own reflection. Action step. Tonight, spend 1 hour alone. No phone, no music, no noise. Sit with yourself. Ask, what am I avoiding hearing? Who am I when no one's watching? What truth within me have I been silencing? Write your answers. Don't judge them. Just listen. Because this is where your storm begins, and where your rebirth will come. Chapter 2. The Breaking Point. Sometimes you must lose yourself completely to remember who you are. The night it all collapsed. It's strange how quiet the world feels right before you fall apart. The air thickens. The minutes stretch. Even your heartbeat sounds louder than it should. For some, the breaking point comes in a hospital waiting room. For others, it's in a job they've outgrown or a love that no longer loves back. Mine came in the middle of a crowded cafe, sunlight streaming through the glass, people laughing, phones buzzing, and I just sat there, feeling utterly invisible. Nothing was wrong, but nothing was right either. I realized I was surrounded by people, yet starving for connection, applauded by others yet unknown to myself. That's when it hit me, not like thunder, but like a slow implosion. I'd built a life that looked perfect on the outside, but was suffocating me from within. And that's the thing about the breaking point. It doesn't always announce itself with drama. Sometimes, it comes wrapped in quiet realization. The moment you admit to yourself that you can't keep living a life that doesn't feel like yours. The psychology of collapse. Every human being has a threshold, a hidden limit of emotional endurance. We spend years ignoring it, numbing it, denying it. We fill our days with noise so we don't have to hear the cracks forming beneath the surface. But eventually, the dam breaks. Psychologists call it cognitive dissonance, the mental tension that arises when the life you live no longer aligns with the truth you know. You can pretend for a while. You can smile for photos. You can say, I'm fine, until your throat hurts. But the soul knows when it's being lied to. And when the gap between who you are and who you pretend to be grows too wide, something inside you will collapse. Not to destroy you, but to save you. Because sometimes the only way your soul can get your attention is by shattering the illusion you've been hiding behind. Story: the runner who forgot why he ran. There was once a marathon runner named Eli. He trained harder than anyone, woke up before dawn, pushed his body until it screamed. He ran to prove he was strong, to earn medals, to be seen. One day, during a major race, he hit his physical limit. His legs gave out. He fell hard, not just on the road, but into the truth he'd been avoiding. As medics rushed toward him, he realized something haunting. He didn't even remember why he was running anymore. He'd been chasing validation for so long. He'd forgotten the love of movement, the rhythm of his breath, the beauty of the sunrise runs. Lying on that pavement, bleeding and breathless, he wept, not from pain, but from clarity. When he healed, he started running again, not to win, but to feel alive. That's the essence of the breaking point. It strips away the lies, the personas, the borrowed dreams, and leaves you face to face with your forgotten truth. The emotion beneath the emotion. When people reach their breaking point, they often say they feel lost. But lost is not the real feeling. Lost is the label we put on something deeper: grief. You're not lost, you're grieving. Grieving the version of you that tried so hard. Grieving the dream that didn't unfold the way you imagined. Grieving the comfort of certainty, the illusion of control. We don't talk enough about this grief, the quiet, invisible kind. The grief of self-betrayal. Because every time you say yes when your soul screams no, every time you shrink your voice to fit someone else's comfort, Every time you abandon your truth to belong, you die a little inside. And when you finally reach your breaking point, it's not weakness. It's the body's rebellion against years of emotional silence. It's your soul saying, enough. The fire and the mirror. There's something sacred about hitting the floor, literally or metaphorically. It's the moment all pretenses burn away and you see yourself, raw, unguarded, real. In that moment, two voices appear. The first is fear, whispering that you've failed, that you're done, that you're broken. The second is truth, whispering, now that everything's gone, you can finally begin. And that second voice, that quiet, steady one, is the voice of your higher self. It's been waiting patiently beneath the noise, beneath the masks, beneath the performance. At the breaking point, you are not being punished. You are being purified. You are being stripped of what's false so that what's real can rise. A realization, the gift in the ruins. I used to think strength meant holding everything together. Now I know, real strength begins when you have the courage to let things fall apart. Because sometimes, what's collapsing is not your life. It's the version of you that was never truly alive. Every shattered plan, every ended relationship, every closed door is an initiation. A divine dismantling. A sacred pause designed to return you to yourself. The breaking point isn't the end of your story. It's the exact page where your becoming begins. Reflection, the bridge between pain and purpose. Think of pain as a teacher, one that doesn't speak softly but never lies. It teaches through contrast, through discomfort, through endings. When your back hits the wall, when every strategy fails, when you have nowhere left to run, that's when life whispers its most important question. Who are you when there's nothing left to prove? If you listen closely in that moment, you'll notice something miraculous. Amid the ashes of what's gone, there's still something unbreakable within you. Your will, your awareness, your light. And once you see that, you'll never see yourself the same way again. Story, the painter's last canvas. There was an artist who painted for years, famous, adored, unstoppable. But one season, inspiration vanished. No matter how hard she tried, every brushstroke felt lifeless. One night, in frustration, she tore every unfinished canvas in her studio, screaming, crying, shaking. Then, exhausted, she sat in front of one blank canvas left untouched. For hours she stared at it. No plan, no performance, just raw presence. Then, slowly, she dipped her brush in color and began again. Not from skill, not from fame, but from surrender. That painting became her masterpiece. Because it wasn't born from ambition, it was born from truth. The breaking point often gives birth to the purest art, the truest self, the deepest purpose. The transformation. There's a quote that says, "When nothing is certain, anything is possible." That's what happens after the breaking point. When the old structures crumble, when your heart cracks open, when the masks fall away, you enter the most fertile space of your life, the unknown. And though it's terrifying, it's also liberating. Because from here, you are free to rebuild not from fear, but from alignment. Not from survival, but from vision. You start to see that life was never tearing you apart. It was tearing away everything that kept you small. You rise, not because you're ready, but because something inside you refuses to stay down. That's the alchemy of breaking. Destruction that births creation. Cinematic closing. The storm will come. The walls will shake. The life you knew may burn to the ground. And in that chaos, you'll want to run, to numb, to hide. But don't. Stand in the ruins. Let the ashes settle. Breathe. Because one day, you'll look back and realize that night you thought was the end was actually your rebirth. The breaking point was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to introduce you to the fire that no longer fears burning. Key takeaways. The breaking point is not your failure. It's your awakening. Collapse happens when the life you live no longer matches the truth you know. Pain is not the enemy. Avoidance is. Grief is a natural part of transformation. It's the price of evolution. When you lose everything false, you find everything real. Action step. Take a blank page. Title it My Breaking Point. Write freely about a moment in your life where you felt like everything fell apart. Then ask yourself, what illusion ended in that moment? What truth was revealed? What part of me was trying to be born? Read your answers aloud. Feel them. Then close your eyes and say to yourself, this was not my ending. It was my beginning. Chapter 3. The Mirror and the Wound. The wound is the place where the light enters you. Rumi. The mirror moment. There comes a day when you can no longer outrun your reflection. You wake up, walk past the mirror, and something stops you. A flicker in your eyes, a depth you hadn't noticed before. It's not vanity that draws your attention. It's recognition. You realize the person staring back isn't the one you've been pretending to be. There's exhaustion behind the smile, a silent story behind the strength, a heaviness in the eyes that whispers, "You've been carrying something far too long." And in that moment, you know, you can't go any further until you face what's inside. That's the essence of transformation. Not in the affirmations, not in the vision boards, but in the raw, trembling courage to face your own shadow. The parts of yourself you've buried beneath perfection, performance, and pride. The shadow we hide. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." The shadow isn't evil. It's the unhealed, unacknowledged part of you. The parts you hide because the world told you they were unlovable. Your anger, your insecurity, your jealousy, your shame, your unmet needs. We think strength means burying them, but suppression doesn't erase the shadow, it feeds it. Every time you smile when you want to scream, every time you say, "I'm fine," when you're breaking, every time you betray your truth to keep the peace, the shadow grows stronger. And one day, it shows up, not to punish you, but to free you. It manifests as anxiety, burnout, self-sabotage, emotional numbness. It's life's way of saying, "You've hidden too long. It's time to come home." Story: The Child in the Corner. I once heard the story of a therapist who asked her patient to imagine all their emotions as children in a room. Joy was laughing in the center. Confidence stood tall. Love glowed softly in the corner. But behind the curtain, there was another child, small, trembling, hiding in the dark. "Who's that?" the therapist asked. The patient hesitated. Tears filled her eyes. "That's the part of me I told to stay quiet. The one that was never good enough." The therapist smiled gently. "Then that's the one who needs you the most." Healing isn't about silencing the parts of yourself you dislike. It's about embracing them with compassion. Because every wound carries a story, and every story holds a lesson. You don't need to fix that child. You need to sit beside them and say, "I see you. I'm sorry I left you alone." The anatomy of a wound. A wound is not just emotional pain. It's a memory that your heart never finished processing. It's energy trapped in time. Psychologically, unhealed wounds shape your identity. If you were criticized as a child, you might become a perfectionist to earn love. If you were abandoned, you might cling too tightly or push others away before they can leave. If you were unseen, you might overachieve just to prove you exist. But every defense mechanism that once protected you eventually becomes a prison. Healing is the act of recognizing that your survival patterns are not your personality. They were just your armor. And when you finally take that armor off, you realize the tenderness beneath it was never weakness. It was your humanity. Facing the mirror. When I began my own healing journey, I thought it would be glorious, meditation, peace, and enlightenment. Instead, it felt like walking barefoot through glass. Every meditation peeled back another layer of numbness. Every journal entry became a confession. Every tear carried the weight of years I'd spent pretending. But here's what I learned. You cannot heal what you refuse to feel. And feeling isn't a punishment. It's how you reclaim your aliveness. The mirror doesn't judge you. It simply reflects what's real. And when you can look into it, trembling, tear-streaked, and honest, that's when healing begins. Story: The Man Who Hated His Reflection. There was once a man who avoided mirrors. As a child, he'd been told he wasn't enough. Not smart enough, not strong enough, not lovable enough. He grew into success, achievement, and admiration. But every time he looked into the mirror, he saw that same unworthy boy staring back. One night, after another failed relationship, he couldn't escape the ache. He poured himself a drink, then stopped. Something inside whispered, "Go look." So he did. He stood in front of the mirror and forced himself to stare. At first, all he saw was shame. But then, something cracked. Behind the hardened eyes, he saw pain. Behind the pain, he saw innocence. Behind the innocence, he saw love, the kind that had never left, only been buried. He fell to his knees and wept, not because he hated himself, but because, for the first time, he didn't. The courage to sit with pain. We live in a world obsessed with numbing. Scroll, drink, work, perform, escape, anything but feel. But your emotions are not enemies. They are messengers. Anger says, something's not fair. Sadness says, something needs to be released. Fear says, pay attention. Shame says, you've forgotten your worth. When you stop fighting your emotions and start listening to them, they transform. Pain alchemizes into wisdom. Tears become cleansing. Emptiness becomes space for something new. That's the paradox. The moment you stop running from pain is the moment it stops chasing you. Reflection, turning the wound into power. Every great story, every hero's journey, begins with a wound. Moses stuttered. Buddha faced despair. Oprah was silenced. Malala was shot. Nelson Mandela was imprisoned. But their power wasn't born despite their wounds. It was born through them. The wound becomes sacred when you allow it to become your teacher. It humbles you. It softens you. It reminds you that strength is not the absence of pain, but the ability to stay open through it. When you stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? You transform from victim to creator. The mirror ritual. Stand in front of the mirror tonight. Look into your own eyes, not your face, not your flaws, your eyes. Ask softly, what pain have I been avoiding? What part of me have I abandoned? What do I need to forgive myself for? Then whisper, I am ready to see myself. I am ready to heal. You might cry. You might laugh. You might feel nothing at first. That's okay. Healing doesn't happen in a single moment of enlightenment. It happens in the quiet decision to keep showing up for yourself, again and again. Cinematic closing. There will be days when the mirror feels like an enemy, when all you can see are your cracks and scars. But if you keep looking, if you keep listening, one day you'll notice something extraordinary. The cracks have filled with gold. The wounds have become wisdom. The pain has become purpose. And you'll realize the mirror was never showing you your brokenness. It was showing you your becoming. That's the art of healing. To turn your wounds into windows. To let the light that once hurt you become the light that guides you home. Key takeaways. Your shadow isn't your enemy. It's the part of you longing to be loved. Healing requires feeling. You must face what you've buried. Every wound is a teacher, carrying the lesson of self-compassion. Pain transforms when you stop resisting it and start listening to it. Your reflection reveals not who you were, but who you're becoming. Action step. Journal on these prompts. 1. What emotion or pattern do I most avoid facing? 2. What might it be trying to teach me? 3. What part of me needs my compassion today? Then, write a short letter to your younger self, the version of you that first learned to hide their pain. Tell them what you wish someone had said. You are safe now. You are seen. You are loved. Fold that letter. Keep it close. It's not just paper. It's a promise to never abandon yourself again. Chapter 4. Ashes and Awakening. You will burn, you will break, and still, you will rise. The morning after the fire. The night always feels endless when you're in the middle of your undoing. But eventually, dawn comes. You wake up, not the same, not quite whole, but breathing. The storm that tore through your life has passed, leaving quiet devastation behind. The things you once clung to, the relationships, the titles, the illusions, now lie scattered like ashes on the floor. You sit among them, numb at first. Then the numbness cracks, and grief floods in. Heavy, raw, honest. You weep for everything that's gone. But somewhere between those tears, you realize, what's gone is everything that was false. And what remains, what's quietly still inside you, is real. That moment right there, fragile, sacred, devastatingly pure, is the beginning of your awakening. The fire is a teacher. We fear the fire because we think it comes to destroy. But in truth, it comes to purify. There are two types of fires in life. The one that consumes and the one that refines. One burns you down. The other burns away everything that isn't truly you. You can't control when the fire comes, but you can decide whether it leaves you bitter or reborn. The fire doesn't ask for permission. It takes what no longer serves you. The false identities, the borrowed beliefs, the walls you built around your heart, and turns them to dust. Because sometimes, the only way to rebuild is to burn first. Story: The Village That Burned. There's an old story about a mountain village that was destroyed by fire. The villagers lost everything: homes, crops, memories. As they sifted through the ruins, despair consumed them. But one elder stood quietly among the ashes, smiling softly. When asked why, he said, "Now that the forest is gone, we can finally see the sunrise." Sometimes, destruction clears the view. It shows you what's been waiting on the other side all along. The science of renewal. Psychologically, we call this process post-traumatic growth. It's the phenomenon where people emerge from deep adversity not weaker, but stronger, wiser, more compassionate. Neuroscience shows that the brain actually rewires itself after trauma. The old neural pathways that reinforced fear and self-doubt can, over time, be replaced with circuits of resilience and purpose. Your mind learns to adapt. Your soul learns to trust again. The truth is, growth isn't linear. It's cyclical. Destruction, healing, awakening, over and over. Like the seasons, like breathing. You're not failing when you fall apart. You're evolving. The moment of surrender. At some point, you stop fighting the ashes. You stop trying to rebuild the same house that burned down. You simply surrender. And in that surrender, something miraculous happens. Peace. It's subtle at first, a calm you can't explain. Then a new energy begins to stir. Not excitement, not yet, but awareness. A whisper, "I'm still here." That whisper is your soul remembering itself. Surrender is not defeat. It's trust. It's the moment your ego bows and your spirit takes the lead. It's the quiet understanding that even in ruin, you are being remade. Story: The Potter's Hands. In a small studio, a potter shapes clay on a spinning wheel. Each piece takes time, patience, and pressure, but occasionally, the pot collapses, too soft, too uneven. The apprentice sighs, ready to discard it. But the master smiles, scoops up the ruined clay, and says, "This isn't failure. This is foundation." He kneads the clay again, softer this time, infused with experience. Then he begins anew, shaping something stronger, more refined. That's what life does when it breaks you. It's not throwing you away. It's reshaping you for your next masterpiece. Awakening through acceptance. Healing doesn't mean forgetting the pain. It means accepting that it happened and choosing to grow because of it. Acceptance doesn't make the fire beautiful. It makes it bearable. It doesn't erase your scars. It teaches you to wear them with grace. You stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What is this calling me to become?" That question changes everything. Because awakening isn't about escaping pain, it's about seeing through it. It's realizing that the pain was never punishment, it was preparation. The phoenix within. In mythology, the phoenix rises from its own ashes, a symbol of immortality and transformation. But what most people forget is this: the phoenix chooses to burn. It surrenders to the fire willingly, trusting that the death of the old is the birth of the new. Your awakening works the same way. You don't rise by clinging. You rise by releasing. The fire is not your enemy. It's your midwife. It doesn't come to end you. It comes to deliver you into who you were meant to be. So yes, you will burn. You will break. But you will rise. Not as who you were, but as who you are becoming. Reflection: learning to see the beauty in ashes. There is a sacred beauty in ruin, the kind that only those who've lost everything can understand. It's the beauty of honesty, of depth, of authenticity. Because once you've been burned by life, superficiality loses its grip on you. You start noticing real things: the warmth in a stranger's smile, the miracle of a quiet morning, the courage in your own breath. You learn gratitude not as a concept, but as survival. And one day, you look back and realize, the ashes didn't just bury you, they rooted you. You grew from them. Story: The Tree That Wouldn't Die. After a wildfire in California, scientists discovered something remarkable. Deep beneath the charred surface, some tree roots had survived, alive, pulsating, waiting. Months later, green shoots began to pierce through the blackened ground. When they tested those trees, they found they were even stronger than before. The fire had forced them to dig deeper, to find hidden water sources, to anchor themselves more firmly into the earth. That's the miracle of the human spirit. It, too, grows stronger in the fire. Not despite it, but because of it. Cinematic closing. You will have moments when you stare at the ashes of what was, confused, heartbroken, scared. But remember this, nothing that is truly meant for you can be burned away. The people who left, the dreams that crumbled, the seasons that ended, all of it cleared the way for something far greater. And when you finally rise, you won't rise as the same person. You'll rise softer, wiser, more grounded, more you. Because the purpose of the fire was never to destroy you. It was to reveal the gold that only the flames could expose. This is the rebirth. This is the awakening. This is where the ashes end and your becoming begins. Key takeaways. Destruction is often the doorway to transformation. The fire doesn't come to punish you. It comes to purify you. Surrender is not giving up. It's trusting the process of renewal. What you lose in the flames were the illusions holding you back. True awakening begins when you accept your ashes as sacred ground. Action step. Take a blank page and draw a small flame at the top. Beneath it, write these 3 prompts. 1. What has life burned away from me recently? 2. What truth has been revealed in the ashes? 3. What part of me is ready to rise again? Then close your eyes, place your hand over your heart, and say aloud, I am ready to rise from my ashes. I release what was, and I welcome what's becoming. Keep that page somewhere sacred, a reminder that your fire was never your end. It was your awakening. Chapter 5. Conversations with the Void. In the silence, you meet the self that never needed saving. The weight of emptiness. There comes a time after the fire, after the tears, after the rebuilding, when everything grows still. No chaos, no noise. Just a quiet that stretches wide and deep, like an ocean with no shore. At first, it feels like absence, like something's missing. You reach for old distractions, old comforts, old voices to fill the gap. But they no longer fit. Their sound feels distant, hollow. That's when the realization dawns. You're not surrounded by nothing. You're surrounded by everything you've avoided. This is the void. And though it feels empty, it's not a punishment. It's a sacred invitation. The call of the void. Most people run from the void. They fill it with noise, with scrolling, talking, planning, escaping. Because silence, to an unhealed mind, feels unbearable. But to a soul that's ready to awaken, silence is sacred ground. The void calls you not to lose yourself, but to find yourself beyond all identities, stories, and names. It whispers, be still long enough, and you will remember who you are. The void is not the absence of meaning. It's the womb of meaning. Every creation, every transformation begins here in nothingness. Story: The Monk and the Empty Cup. A student once visited a wise monk, eager to learn the secrets of enlightenment. The monk poured tea into the student's cup and kept pouring until it overflowed. The student shouted, "Stop! The cup is full." The monk smiled. "Exactly. How can I teach you anything if your cup is already full?" The void is the universe tipping your cup, emptying it of all that clutters your mind and blocks your growth. It may feel uncomfortable, but that emptiness is where wisdom begins. The science of stillness. Modern neuroscience confirms what ancient mystics always knew. Stillness changes the brain. When you sit in silence, when you disconnect from external stimuli, your brain's default mode network activates. It's the system that allows self-reflection, integration, and emotional healing. It's where meaning is made. Your mind, given quiet, begins to reorganize itself. Old wounds rise to be understood. Unprocessed emotions find release. And in that process, your consciousness expands. Solitude is not isolation, it's recalibration. It's how your soul realigns with its original frequency, the echo of existence. In silence, you begin to notice strange things. The rhythm of your breath, the subtle hum of your heartbeat, the quiet pulse of the universe that seems to move in sync with your own. You realize that even emptiness has a sound, a low, eternal vibration that connects everything. This is not loneliness. This is communion. Because when all else fades, when you are stripped of labels, roles, and noise, what remains is consciousness itself. And consciousness is never alone. Story: The Hermit and the Wind. There was once a hermit who lived high in the mountains, far from society. A traveler climbed up to meet him, asking, "Aren't you lonely up here, surrounded by nothing?" The hermit smiled, listening to the wind whisper through the pines. Nothing? I am surrounded by everything. The mountains speak. The wind listens. The silence sings. The traveler didn't understand. Until years later, sitting alone one night, they finally heard it too. The void isn't empty. It's alive. It holds a language that only silence can translate. The fear of nothingness. When you first face the void, it can feel terrifying. It confronts the part of you that always needs to be something: productive, admired, validated. But the void has no interest in your performance. It strips you bare until all that remains is truth. It asks you, who are you when there's no one left to impress? Who are you when you stop doing and start being? This is not an easy dialogue. It's the death of identity, the soft unraveling of ego. But it's in that unraveling that freedom is born, the voice in the silence. When you finally stop resisting, when you allow yourself to sink into the silence, something extraordinary happens. The void begins to speak, not in words, but in understanding, not in thoughts, but in knowing. It tells you things you didn't know you knew. It shows you who you've always been. The voice you hear is not some distant divinity. It's your own consciousness, unfiltered and whole. The same voice that guided you as a child, the same one you ignored through chaos, now speaks with quiet certainty. You were never lost. You were just learning to listen. Story: The Desert's Whisper. A traveler once crossed a vast desert, desperate for water. Days passed with no oasis in sight. Finally, collapsing under the heat, he whispered, "There is nothing here." But then, in that stillness, he heard it, a faint hum beneath the sand. He pressed his ear down and realized the earth was alive. Water was moving underground. The desert hadn't been empty. He had just been too loud to hear it. That's how the void works. It's never silent. It's simply waiting for you to quiet enough to listen. The gifts of emptiness. When you learn to sit with emptiness, not fill it, not fight it, it transforms. Emptiness becomes space. Space becomes possibility. Possibility becomes creation. All art, all love, all truth is born from that space. From the pause between breaths, from the silence before sound. You begin to see that the void is not a destination. It's a mirror reflecting your infinite capacity to create, to connect, to be. The return from silence. Eventually, the time comes to step back into the world. You speak again, but slower now, each word chosen with care. You move again, but with purpose. You see others not as noise, but as echoes of yourself. The void taught you something most never learn. That peace doesn't come from adding more. It comes from needing less. That silence isn't the absence of life. It's the essence of it. You no longer fear stillness. You crave it. Because in stillness, you remember. Cinematic closing. You sit beneath the night sky, alone but not lonely. The stars look back, silent and ancient. The world hums softly around you. And for the first time, you don't need to reach for anything. You don't need to become anything. You simply are. The void has taught you the final truth. That wholeness isn't found in fullness, but in presence. In silence, you met the infinite within you. And in that meeting, you discovered the greatest realization of all. I am not empty. I am the space in which everything lives. Key takeaways. Silence is not emptiness. It's presence in its purest form. The void is not a punishment, but a portal to self-realization. Stillness heals, rewires, and restores your inner harmony. Emptiness transforms into creativity when embraced with openness. You are never alone in silence. You are surrounded by the universe itself. Reflection practice. The art of listening to nothing. 1. Sit in complete silence for 10 minutes. No music, no distractions. 2. Focus on the sensations in your body, the breath, the heartbeat, the subtle hum of life. 3. When your mind starts to wander, whisper gently. Listen. 4. Notice what arises, thoughts, emotions, images, and let them pass without judgment. Afterward, write down this reflection. What did I hear in the silence? What part of me was trying to speak? Keep that answer close. It's your soul's voice, the one that only the void could help you find. Chapter 6. The River Within. The river doesn't fight the mountain. It carves through it, not by force, but by flow. The still beginning. It begins in quiet again, not the silence of emptiness, but the silence before motion. The world feels suspended, as though waiting for your next breath to decide its direction. You stand at the edge of something invisible, a current that calls without sound. You can't see where it leads, but you can feel it. Somewhere deep within, you know. This is the river, the flow of life itself. The pulse of creation that moves through everything, through the tides, the blood, the wind, and you. You've spent so long trying to control the current, to plan every step, to steer every outcome. But the river doesn't follow maps. It follows truth, the nature of flow. The river within you is not water. It's emotion, intuition, energy, movement. It's the quiet intelligence of the soul that always knows the way home. When you resist it, you feel pain, tension, fear, exhaustion. When you surrender, life begins to unfold with an uncanny grace. Doors open, timing aligns. You realize that life never needed your control, only your cooperation. To flow is not to give up. It's to give in to the deeper rhythm that's been guiding you all along. Story: The Sculptor and the Stream. There once was a sculptor who spent years trying to carve the perfect statue. He forced the chisel against the stone, fighting its natural curves, growing more frustrated with every strike. One day, he wandered into the forest and saw a stream flowing around rocks effortlessly, shaping them over time without resistance. The water didn't force anything. It became the path. He returned to his workshop and changed his approach. He stopped fighting the stone. He began to listen to it, to follow its lines, its hidden grain. And in that surrender, his greatest masterpiece was born. The river doesn't destroy, it reveals. It carves away what doesn't belong until only truth remains. Surrender, the lost art. We live in a world that glorifies control of our image, our schedule, our destiny. We're taught to fight the current, to swim upstream, to make things happen. But have you noticed how often that fight leaves you tired, anxious, or lost? Surrender isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's the courage to trust that the current knows more than your fear ever could. The great paradox of life is that you move forward faster when you stop trying to push the river. Because flow doesn't come from effort, it comes from alignment. The psychology of flow. Psychologists call it the flow state, that timeless immersion when you're fully alive in what you're doing. Time dissolves. The mind quiets. You become one with the act itself, whether you're writing, painting, running, or speaking. In that state, you're not thinking about life. You're living it. And beneath that experience lies the ultimate spiritual truth. The river within is not something you find. It's something you remember. When you stop forcing outcomes and start following resonance, you return to your natural frequency, the rhythm you were born with, before the world told you who to be. Story: The Dancer and the Music. A young dancer once asked her mentor, "How do I become great?" The mentor smiled and said, "Stop dancing to impress the audience. Start dancing to become the music." For years, the dancer tried to control every movement, perfect every line. But the more she controlled, the less alive she felt. Until one day, she closed her eyes mid-performance. She stopped counting beats. She stopped thinking. And something miraculous happened. Her body began to move on its own, effortless, alive, divine. The audience rose to their feet, not because she was perfect, but because she was real. That's what flow feels like. When you stop trying to move life and let life move through you. When the river rages. But what about when the current turns wild? When life feels like a flood instead of a flow? That's when trust is tested. Because surrendering to the river doesn't mean it will always be calm. Sometimes it roars, crashes, and drags you through darkness. Yet even then, there's purpose in the turbulence. A river only deepens by cutting through rock. Likewise, every storm, every detour, every fall is carving you, shaping you into someone capable of deeper stillness, greater strength, and truer peace. You can't learn grace without the storm. You can't discover surrender without chaos. Every rapid is a lesson in letting go, the lesson of water. Water never asks, "Why me?" It doesn't cling to the shore or resist the fall. It simply flows, adapting, yielding, transforming. It can take the shape of any vessel without losing its essence. It can freeze, evaporate, or fall from the sky, yet it remains what it always was, water. And so are you. No matter how many shapes your life takes, your essence remains. Your spirit is the same, only learning new ways to flow. The alignment of emotion. The river within also represents your emotional flow, the current of feelings you often try to dam or redirect. But when you suppress emotion, it stagnates. It turns into anxiety, resentment, or numbness. Healing begins the moment you stop fighting your feelings and start letting them flow through you. Crying is flow. Forgiving is flow. Releasing control is flow. You don't need to drown in your emotions. You just need to let them move. Because emotions are energy in motion. And motion is how the soul breathes. Story: The Woman and the Storm. There was a woman who had lost everything. Her job, her home, her relationship. Every day she tried to hold herself together, terrified that if she let go, she'd fall apart. Until one night, standing under the rain, she finally did. She screamed, cried, shook, and as the storm within her met the storm outside, she realized the world wasn't ending. It was cleansing. The rain didn't break her, it freed her. Because she stopped trying to resist the water and let herself be washed clean. Sometimes the only way out is through, and the only way through is flow. The art of effortless alignment. When you align with the river within, life stops being a battle and becomes a dance. You begin to notice synchronicities, meetings, signs, timing that feel too perfect to be coincidence. You feel guided, not forced. You act, but without strain. You trust, but without proof. This is effortless alignment, when your choices, energy, and truth move in harmony. It's not that challenges disappear, it's that you stop fighting what is and start partnering with it. Every river finds the ocean, not because it rushes, but because it flows. Cinematic closing. You walk beside a river at dusk. The sky burns with gold and crimson, and the water glows like liquid fire. You kneel, touch its surface, and see your reflection ripple. Not distorted, but alive, moving, expanding, infinite. You realize the river was never outside you. It was always inside, guiding, cleansing, creating. And as you rise, a single truth fills your heart like light breaking through clouds. I am not separate from the flow. I am the flow. Key takeaways. The river within is the flow of emotion, intuition, and energy that connects you to life. Surrender is not giving up. It's giving in to your authentic rhythm. Flow comes from alignment, not control. Every challenge in life is a current carving you into deeper truth. You move toward peace not by force, but by allowing. Reflection practice. Entering the flow. 1. Find a quiet space near water, a river, fountain, or even your own breath. 2. Close your eyes and breathe deeply, imagining a gentle current moving through you. 3. Ask yourself, where in my life am I resisting flow? 4. Visualize releasing that resistance, like dropping a stone into the river and watching the ripples fade. 5. Whisper, I trust the current. I let life move me. Then, observe what shifts. You may find that the very thing you were chasing begins to come to you, not because you forced it, but because you flowed toward it. Chapter 7. The Fire of Purpose. You were not born to chase light. You were born to ignite it. The ember that never died. There's a fire inside you, faint, flickering, buried beneath the ashes of everything you've endured. It's been there since the beginning, long before fear, before failure, before the world taught you to play small. That fire is purpose. Not a job, not a title, not a dream with deadlines, but a living force that calls your soul to become more. For years, maybe decades, you felt its whisper. It's the ache in your chest when you see someone living freely. It's the restlessness you feel in quiet moments. That haunting sense that you're meant for something greater. You can silence it with distraction. You can bury it under logic. But it never dies. Because the fire of purpose cannot be extinguished. It only waits for your courage to breathe again. The awakening. There comes a day when the ordinary no longer satisfies you. When comfort begins to taste like confinement. When you realize that surviving isn't the same as living. That's the moment the ember stirs. It's not loud, it's steady. It doesn't demand attention, it demands truth. You begin to feel it, a subtle warmth beneath your weariness. A knowing that there's something inside you that's been waiting to be remembered. Purpose isn't found in a book or a seminar. It's remembered in the quiet realization that everything you've been through was preparing you for this. Story: The Blacksmith and the Flame. There was once a blacksmith who lost everything in a fire that consumed his workshop. His tools melted, his creations destroyed. He sat among the ashes, broken, ready to give up. But as he sifted through the ruins, he found a single glowing coal, still burning amid the devastation. Something in him shifted. He realized the fire that destroyed his world could also forge a new one. He built again, stronger, wiser, more intentional. His art became renowned not for perfection, but for soul. And when people asked how he did it, he said, "I stopped fearing the fire. I became it. Your pain is not your end. It's your forge. It's the heat that shapes you into who you were always meant to be." The anatomy of purpose. Purpose begins where fear ends, and where truth begins. It's not about grand gestures or world-shaking missions. It's about alignment, when what you love, what you're good at, and what serves others meet in one blazing intersection. Psychologists call it eudaimonia, the state of deep fulfillment that arises when you live in harmony with your highest self. Purpose isn't a finish line. It's a direction, a compass that keeps your life pointed toward meaning. You don't chase purpose. You ignite it, the fire and the wound. The greatest irony of life is that our deepest purpose often hides within our deepest pain. The things that broke you most are the very things that gave you insight, empathy, and strength. The wound you carry becomes your message. The darkness you survive becomes your medicine. Every scar is a torch waiting to be lit. When you stop resenting your past and start using it, you transform pain into power. The fire that once burned you becomes the same light that guides others out of the dark. Story: The Teacher and the Flame. There was a teacher who once lived in despair, struggling with addiction, shame, and self-hate. When he finally found healing, he made a vow. "If I ever find the light again, I will spend my life holding the lantern for others." He began sharing his story, not to impress, but to impact. People saw themselves in his words, and one by one, their fires began to reignite. He discovered that his purpose wasn't to be perfect, it was to be real. Because light isn't shared through flawless mirrors, but through cracked ones that let it through. Your story, raw, imperfect, true, could be someone else's spark. The psychology of fire. Science calls it the energy of meaning. When you live in alignment with purpose, your brain shifts. Dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin, the neurochemicals of joy and connection, begin to flow naturally. Purpose literally heals you. It lowers stress, strengthens immunity, and increases resilience. But beyond biology, there's something mystical about purpose. It makes you magnetic. The world begins to respond to your energy. Opportunities find you. People align with you. Synchronicities unfold like constellations. Because when you burn with authenticity, the universe becomes your mirror flame. The fear of the flame. Yet many fear the fire, not because it burns, but because it illuminates. It shows you what you can no longer hide from. It exposes the ways you've been living below your truth. That's why so many people numb out, shrink, or settle. It's safer to stay cold than to risk being burned by your own potential. But the cost of dimming your fire is far greater than the risk of being scorched. Because the slow burn of an unlived life is the most painful flame of all. Becoming the fire. To live on purpose is to live ablaze. It's to rise every day and ask, what would it look like to be fully alive today? You don't need all the answers. You just need one spark of truth, one action that honors your calling. Start small. Write the thing. Speak the truth. Help the person. Take the risk. Because the fire grows not from certainty, but from motion. Every act of courage fans the flame. Every moment of honesty fuels it. And before you know it, the ember becomes a blaze. Not just lighting your path, but igniting others who see you burn with purpose. Story: The Torchbearer. In ancient times, there was a tradition. When a firekeeper's flame began to die, another would journey through the night to share their torch. Not to take, but to give. That's what living your purpose does. It doesn't deplete your fire. It multiplies it. You become a torchbearer, lighting the way for others, not by preaching, but by being. The world doesn't need more perfection. It needs more people on fire with meaning. The rebirth of flame. There will be days when the fire dims, when exhaustion, fear, or doubt makes you forget who you are. That's natural. Even stars fade at dawn. But remember, the source of your flame is not outside you. It's not validation, success, or applause. It's love, passion, truth. Return to them, and the fire returns to you. Every time you choose authenticity over approval, courage over comfort, purpose over fear, you strike a match against the darkness, and the world gets a little brighter. Cinematic closing. You stand on a mountain's edge, the wind fierce, the night vast. In your hand burns a single flame, fragile, alive, eternal. You remember everything you've walked through, the ashes, the void, the river. All of it led you here, to this sacred moment of ignition. You close your eyes and whisper, "This is who I am. I am the fire. I am the light. I am the purpose." And as you breathe, the flame expands, not just around you, but from you, until it touches the horizon. The mountain doesn't burn. It glows. The night doesn't disappear. It transforms. You have become what you were always seeking, the living flame of purpose itself. Key takeaways. Purpose isn't found. It's remembered. Your greatest pain often contains your deepest purpose. Living on purpose is about alignment, not achievement. When you live your truth, you ignite others without even trying. The fire within you never dies. It only waits for you to breathe again. Reflection practice. Reigniting your inner flame. 1. Sit in a quiet space. Close your eyes and place your hand over your heart. 2. Ask yourself, what breaks my heart, and what could I build from that? 3. Write down the moments in life when you felt most alive, most aligned, most you. 4. Find the common thread. That's your fire speaking. 5. Commit to one small act this week that honors that fire. Say aloud, "I trust my fire. I am ready to live from it." And remember, your flame was never lost. It was only waiting for your breath to believe again. Chapter 8. The Climb. Every mountain is a mirror, showing you not how high it stands, but how deeply you're willing to rise. The call of the summit. At first, it's just a whisper, a quiet stirring inside you that says, "There's more." You can't explain it, but you feel it, a pull toward higher ground. Not a physical place, but a state of being, clearer, truer, freer. It's the call to rise, not above others, but above your old self. And answering that call is never easy, because the climb doesn't begin on the mountain. It begins within. The first step, the tremor of becoming. Every ascent starts with trembling legs and a heart full of doubt. You look up at the distance, the miles of uncertainty, the weight of what lies ahead, and a voice whispers, "You'll never make it." But another voice, quieter yet stronger, whispers back, "Take one step." And so you do, not because you're fearless, but because something in you refuses to stay where you are. That's how every mountain is climbed, not in leaps, but in relentless inches. Not by those who feel ready, but by those who begin anyway. Story: The Monk and the Mountain. A young monk once asked his teacher, "Master, how do I reach enlightenment?" The old man smiled and said, "Climb that mountain." The monk obeyed, climbing for days through hunger, pain, and exhaustion. When he reached the top, he found nothing but sky. Furious, he descended and demanded. There was nothing there. No secret, no revelation. The master simply replied, "The mountain was never there to be conquered. It was there to reveal you." The inner battle, surrender versus discipline. Resilience is not the absence of struggle. It's the art of dancing between surrender and discipline, knowing when to push and when to let go. Discipline is the climb. It's showing up when you don't feel like it. It's the steady rhythm of footsteps in the fog, trusting there's a summit you can't yet see. Surrender is the breath. It's the moment you stop fighting the mountain and start moving with it. It's allowing life's rhythm to carry you, instead of trying to control the wind. Too much discipline, and you become rigid, breaking under your own expectations. Too much surrender, and you drift, losing your direction in the mist. True mastery lies in the balance, the strength to persist, the grace to release. The plateau. There comes a point in every climb where progress feels invisible. You've come so far, yet the summit still hides beyond the clouds. Fatigue seeps into your bones. Doubt wraps around your will. This is where most turn back, not because the mountain defeated them, but because the silence did. The plateau is not a punishment. It's a test of devotion. It asks, do you climb only for the summit, or for the transformation that happens on the way? Those who keep walking, even when it feels meaningless, they discover something miraculous. The air clears. The view expands. And they realize the plateau wasn't stillness. It was becoming. Story: The Traveler and the Rope Bridge. A traveler once reached a broken rope bridge hanging over a chasm. The winds howled. The bridge swayed. Fear screamed, "Turn back." But she remembered what the old guide had said. If the bridge shakes, it means it's alive. Trust its rhythm, not your fear. So she stepped. One trembling step, then another. Her heartbeat matched the swing of the bridge. And as she crossed, she realized the bridge was never the enemy. It was the path. Sometimes the only way forward is through the shaking. The psychology of perseverance. Modern neuroscience confirms what ancient wisdom has always known. Resilience is built, not born. Each time you face adversity and persist, your brain rewires itself, strengthening neural pathways of courage, focus, and grit. The more you endure with purpose, the more capable you become of enduring. But resilience isn't about hardness. It's about elasticity. The ability to bend without breaking, to rest without quitting, to fall without losing faith in the climb. The shadow of comparison. As you ascend, you'll look around and see others ahead, faster, stronger, seemingly effortless. Comparison will whisper, "You're too late, too far behind." But mountains are not races. They are revelations. Each path is different because each soul has a different sky to touch. The summit you seek is not theirs, it's yours. And no one can walk your steps for you. The breaking storm. Every climber faces a storm. The moment the wind howls so violently you can barely breathe. You question why you started. You curse the path. You plead for relief. But it's in that storm that you find what no calm day could ever show you. Your core. The storm strips away illusion. All the masks, pretenses, and borrowed beliefs. What remains is raw, unbreakable truth. And when the skies finally clear, you're not the same person who began the climb. You're tempered. You're real. You're free. Story: The Climber Who Stopped Looking Down. A legend tells of a climber who was paralyzed by fear halfway up the mountain. He couldn't move forward or back. He was frozen between the pull of the summit and the weight of his doubt. Then, he heard a voice from above, soft but steady. Stop looking down. He realized he had been measuring his height by the danger below, not the purpose above. With trembling hands, he lifted his gaze. And in that single moment of faith, he began to climb again, not because the fear vanished, but because he finally looked where he was going. The summit within. When you finally reach the top, the view is breathtaking. But the real beauty isn't in the landscape below, it's in the one within. You see the strength that was once hidden beneath hesitation. You feel the stillness that was born through struggle. You understand that the climb was never about reaching the mountain's peak. It was about remembering your own. Because the truth is, the summit is not a destination. It's an awakening. A moment when you realize you were climbing not to escape who you were, but to return to who you are. Cinematic closing. You stand at the edge of the summit. The world stretches endlessly beneath you. Clouds, rivers, cities, dreams. The wind roars through your hair, cold but cleansing. You close your eyes. Your lungs expand with the sharpness of the air, the taste of effort, courage, and surrender. You remember the storms, the falls, the doubts. You remember the silence of the plateau. You remember the bridge that shook. And you smile, because now you understand. The mountain was never a challenge. It was a mirror. It showed you that resilience is not about reaching the top. It's about refusing to stop climbing, even when the top disappears from view. The climb doesn't end here. It never does. Every summit becomes the base of another peak. Every victory whispers, rise again. And so, with the quiet fire of purpose still burning in your chest, you take one more breath, look to the horizon, and begin to climb once more. Key takeaways. Resilience is the balance between surrender and discipline. The plateau is not the end, it's transformation in disguise. Every storm reveals what calm never could. Comparison steals the meaning from your climb. The true summit is an inner state of alignment, not an external peak. Reflection practice, the path of steady ascent. 1. Close your eyes and visualize the mountain of your current challenge. 2. See yourself halfway up, tired, uncertain, but still standing. 3. Ask yourself, what have I already overcome to get here? 4. Place your hand on your heart and repeat, I trust the climb. I am not lost. I am becoming. 5. Open your eyes and take one small action today that moves you forward, even if it's just one step. Because the climb doesn't demand perfection, only presence. Chapter 9. Echoes of Light. What we heal in ourselves becomes a silent lantern in the dark, guiding others home. The afterglow of becoming. When you've walked through fire, silence, and storms. When you've climbed mountains and met the edge of your own fear, something begins to change within you. It's not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It's more like dawn, a soft light that spills quietly across the landscape of your being. You begin to see differently. You listen more deeply. You move with a kind of stillness that others feel, even before they understand it. And that quiet radiance, is what this chapter is about. Legacy is not carved in monuments or words. It's etched in presence. It's the energy that lingers after you leave the room, the echo of your light that touches hearts you may never meet. Story: The woman in the train station. It was late. One of those rain-soaked evenings when the world feels heavy with stories. A woman sat alone on a bench in an empty train station. Her eyes were tired, her spirit thinner than she wanted to admit. Across from her sat an old man, humming a quiet tune, not to anyone, but to the air. He caught her gaze and smiled. Not a polite smile, a knowing one. The kind that says, "I've been there too." He didn't speak. He didn't try to fix her. He just was. And in that brief silence, something inside her steadied. It wasn't the words, it was the presence. The silent permission to breathe again. Years later, she would tell her daughter, "I don't know who he was, but that man saved me." Not with answers, with his calm. That is legacy. The unseen ripple. The echo of light. The energy we leave behind. Every healed person leaves behind a trail. Invisible, but powerful. When you rise from your own darkness, you unconsciously give others permission to do the same. Your laughter after heartbreak says, joy is possible. Your compassion after betrayal says, forgiveness can heal anything. Your peace after chaos says, we can begin again. You become the proof. You become the bridge. You become the light that whispers, this is not the end. And you may never know who you've touched. That's the beauty of light. It doesn't need recognition to shine. Reflection, the paradox of impact. We often chase impact like it's a mountain to climb, as if greatness can be measured by applause, numbers, or fame. But true impact lives in the unseen moments. The smile that softens a stranger's day. The forgiveness that frees a lineage. The calm presence that steadies a breaking heart. Your greatest legacy will never be the things you leave. It will be the energy you leave. Because the soul remembers vibrations more than words. The science of resonance. In quantum physics, there's a phenomenon called entrainment. When two frequencies align, the weaker vibration begins to sync with the stronger one. That's how tuning forks resonate. That's how human hearts connect. When you live in peace, your energy harmonizes with others, even in silence. You don't have to preach healing. You become healing. You don't have to tell others to rise. You are the rise. This is resonance, the invisible music of transformation. It's what people feel when they say, there's something about you I can't explain. It's not charisma. It's coherence. It's alignment between your inner world and your outer expression. And that alignment is what makes your light unforgettable. Story: The Candle and the Mirror. A teacher once placed a candle in front of her students and said, "This flame is your truth. But what good is it if you hide it?" One student replied, "If I shine too brightly, won't I burn out?" The teacher smiled and brought a mirror before the flame. A true light never burns out when reflected. It multiplies. That's what legacy is, reflection. Your courage becomes someone's permission. Your peace becomes someone's prayer. Your light multiplies in those who see themselves through it. From healed to healing. Healing was never meant to end with you. It's meant to move through you. When you learn to stand alone, you don't stand against the world. You stand for it. You become a quiet revolution. Proof that pain can be turned into poetry. That endings can become beginnings. That solitude can give birth to compassion. And you'll notice something beautiful. When you no longer chase to be understood, you become understanding. When you no longer need to be seen, you begin to see others. When you stop searching for the light, you realize you are it. The ripple beyond sight. There's a story told in the East about a young man who planted trees in a barren valley. He never saw them grow tall. He died long before their shade touched the ground. Generations later, travelers rested beneath their branches, and children laughed in the sunlight filtered through leaves. None of them knew his name, but every breath they took in that forest carried a whisper of his legacy. That's what impact looks like, not recognition, but regeneration. To live in such a way that others breathe easier because you once walked this earth. The light in motion. Light doesn't stay where it begins. It travels. Even after a star dies, its light can still be seen for millions of years. A cosmic echo whispering, "I was here." You, too, are made of that same light. And the beauty of it is, even when your story ends, your light will continue to move through others. In the lives you've touched, the hearts you've lifted, the wounds you've helped heal. Because love, real, awakened love, never disappears. It only transforms. Cinematic closing. Picture this. You're standing at dusk, the sun setting behind you, casting long gold shadows across the horizon. You turn, and in the distance, you see the path you've walked. The ashes, the storms, the summits, the still waters. Every step glows faintly with the light of transformation. Every scar shimmers like gold leaf beneath your skin. And then you realize something breathtaking. You're not just the traveler on this path. You are the light that illuminated it. You were never meant to shine for the applause. You were meant to shine so others could find their way. Because when one soul heals, the whole world breathes a little lighter. When one person chooses love over fear, forgiveness over bitterness, purpose over despair, the entire frequency of humanity rises. You are part of that rising. You always were. You always will be. Key takeaways. Legacy is not about recognition. It's about resonance. Your healed presence silently gives others permission to heal. True impact lives in the unseen. Energy, kindness, compassion. Light multiplies through reflection, not performance. You are the echo of every light that ever came before you, and the beginning of new ones yet to shine. Reflection practice. The ripple effect. 1. Close your eyes and think of 3 people whose presence changed you, not by what they said, but by who they were. 2. Write their names down and 1 sentence for each. What did their light awaken in me? 3. Now ask yourself, what part of my light can I pass on today? A word of encouragement. A moment of presence. A silent prayer for someone else's peace. 4. Whisper to yourself, may my light travel farther than my name. Because in the end, it's not the years we live that matter most. It's the light we leave behind. Chapter 10. The Art of Letting Go. To let go is not to lose. It is to finally remember that you were never holding anything but love. The weight we carry. There comes a moment in every soul's journey when the climb slows. Not because the mountain has ended, but because your hands are still clutching what was never meant to go with you. Old stories, unforgiven memories, dreams that expired quietly while you weren't looking. You carry them like stones in your backpack. The weight of what could have been, the ache of what once was. And life, in its quiet wisdom, whispers, it's time. You resist, of course. You tell yourself letting go means losing. But in truth, letting go is not loss. It's liberation. It's not the end of something. It's the beginning of everything that follows. Story, The Bird and the Cage. There once was a bird who spent her life inside a golden cage. She was safe, fed, admired, but she couldn't fly. One day, her keeper left the door open. The wind brushed her feathers. Freedom called, but she hesitated. The world outside was unknown. What if she didn't know how to fly anymore? What if freedom hurt more than safety? And so she stayed, until one morning, she realized the cage was never locked. It was her fear that held her. So she stepped through the open door and discovered that flight was not something she had to learn again. It was something she had never lost. Letting go is like that. It feels like falling, but it's really remembering how to fly. The anatomy of holding on. Why do we hold on to what hurts us? Because pain feels safer than uncertainty. Because the mind mistakes familiarity for love. Because the ego believes control equals security. We cling to relationships that no longer align, to identities that have expired, to expectations that suffocate our becoming. We tell ourselves we're loyal, but sometimes what we call loyalty is fear in disguise. True courage isn't holding on tighter. It's releasing what no longer supports your highest truth. even when your heart trembles in the process. The storm of release. Letting go doesn't happen in one clean breath. It's messy. It's the sound of old versions of you crying their last tears. It's mourning futures that will never arrive. It's waking up one morning and realizing you no longer recognize who you were, but you're not yet who you're becoming. That in-between, that sacred chaos, is the bridge. And the more you resist, the longer you stay stuck halfway across it. So instead of fighting the storm, walk into it. Let it soak you. Let it wash away the old stories. Because when the rain stops, you'll feel lighter, not because life got easier, but because you finally stopped dragging the past through every new day. Reflection, the tree that knows. In autumn, trees let their leaves fall without fear. They do not cling, though the leaves once nourished them. They do not mourn, though the branches are left bare. They simply release, trusting that what is lost will return in a new form. That's the wisdom of letting go. It's faith disguised as surrender. It's trusting that life renews itself, even after everything looks dead. You, too, are part of that cycle. You, too, must sometimes stand bare to become whole again. Story, The Monk and the Cup. A monk once poured tea for a student until it overflowed onto the table. The student shouted, "Stop! The cup is full." The monk smiled gently and said, "Exactly, and so is your mind. How can I fill it with new wisdom if you don't empty it first?" We are all cups overflowing with yesterday. And the only way to receive what's next, love, peace, clarity, is to pour something out. The psychology of surrender. From a psychological lens, letting go activates one of the most powerful internal shifts known as radical acceptance. It doesn't mean you approve of what happened. It means you stop fighting the truth of it. Acceptance doesn't drain your power. It reclaims it. Because as long as you're fighting what is, you're tethered to the past. But the moment you accept it, you become free to create what's next. Surrender is not giving up. It's giving in to the rhythm of life, flowing with it instead of against it. That's when peace returns, not as something you chase, but as something that was always waiting beneath the noise. The hands that open. There's a subtle miracle that happens when you finally let go. Your hands, once clenched with fear, open, and suddenly, they're ready to receive again. You realize you were never meant to grip life so tightly. You were meant to dance with it. Every time you release control, you make space for grace. Every time you forgive, you lighten your soul. Every time you stop chasing, what's meant for you can finally find you. Story, The River Stone. A traveler once sat beside a river and picked up a smooth stone from the stream. He marveled at its shape, rounded, perfect, soft. A sage sitting nearby said, "Do you know how it became so smooth?" The traveler shook his head. It surrendered to the current. It allowed the river to shape it. It didn't resist the flow, it trusted it. Letting go is like that. Life may polish you through motion, through loss, through change, but every moment of surrender carves you into something more graceful. The freedom beyond control. We spend so much of our lives trying to control outcomes. To make people stay, to make plans work, to make meaning last. But life is not a machine, it's a melody. You can't control every note. You can only choose how you dance to it. The art of letting go is not passive. It's an act of sacred trust. It's saying, even if I don't know what's next, I trust that I'm guided. When you live that way, every ending becomes a beginning, and every goodbye whispers, "Thank you." Cinematic closing, the feather in the wind. Imagine standing on a cliff at dawn. You open your hand and let a feather drift into the wind. For a moment, you watch it rise, dip, and disappear into the horizon. A part of you aches, but another part exhales. Because you realize, you were never meant to cage what was meant to move. You were never meant to own what was meant to pass through. The sky doesn't mourn the feather. It embraces it. And that's what letting go truly is. The embrace of life in its full, ungraspable beauty. When you stop clutching, you start receiving. When you stop fearing the unknown, you begin to remember that it has always loved you. So breathe. Open your palms. Let it all go. The story, the shame, the should-haves. Because only empty hands can touch the infinite. Key takeaways. Letting go is not losing. It's remembering your freedom. Holding on often comes from fear, not love. Surrender is not weakness. It's alignment with life's flow. Every release creates room for renewal. Peace is not control. It's trust. Reflection practice, the release ritual. 1. Write down 3 things you've been holding on to: a memory, expectation, or fear. 2. Next to each one, write, "What am I afraid will happen if I let this go?" 3. Read your answers aloud, then gently say, "I release this with love. I trust that what is meant for me will remain." 4. Tear or burn the paper safely, watching the smoke or ashes drift upward. 5. As you exhale, imagine the space within you opening, ready for what's next. Because the art of letting go is really the art of allowing life to love you again. Chapter 11. The Silent Rebellion. The loudest revolution begins not in the streets, but in the silence of one honest heart. The unseen battle. There is a rebellion that does not shout. It doesn't march with banners or burn flags. It happens in quiet rooms. When a person decides, for the first time, to stop betraying their soul just to be understood. This rebellion is not against the world. It's against the parts of you that have been shaped by the world. The masks, the compromises, the quiet deaths of truth you endured to keep the peace. It's the revolution of a soul remembering its original voice. The weight of pretending. From childhood, we learn the subtle art of pleasing. Smile here. Stay quiet there. Fit the mold. Don't make them uncomfortable. And so we shrink, not because we are small, but because the world told us it was safer that way. We trade authenticity for acceptance, truth for validation, freedom for belonging. But every time you say yes, when your soul screams no, a piece of you disappears into the background noise of conformity. And one day, you wake up realizing you've built a life that looks perfect from the outside, but echoes hollow on the inside. That's when the rebellion begins. The whisper that starts it all. The silent rebellion starts as a whisper. A voice inside says, "There must be more than this." It's not angry, it's honest. It doesn't demand, it remembers. You feel it when you're smiling in rooms where your truth is unwelcome. You feel it when you walk away from conversations that leave your spirit bruised. You feel it when the noise of the world becomes unbearable, and you crave the sanctuary of your own authenticity. The whisper is not weakness. It's the beginning of awakening. It's the sound of your soul turning toward freedom. Story: The painter who stopped painting. There once was a painter who filled galleries with art that everyone adored. But secretly, he hated every brushstroke, because each one was shaped by what the audience wanted, not what he felt. One morning, he stopped painting altogether. He sat in silence for months, surrounded by empty canvases. People whispered, "He's lost his gift." But in truth, he was finding it again, beneath the applause, beneath the noise. And when he finally painted again, the world didn't understand his work, but he did. And that was enough. That is the essence of the silent rebellion. To create, speak, and live for truth. Even if the world doesn't clap. The cost of truth. Living authentically has a cost. You will lose people who loved your mask. You will be misunderstood by those still asleep. You will feel the sting of solitude when the world demands your silence. But what you gain is yourself. And that trade is sacred, because once you taste the freedom of your own truth, you will never again settle for the prison of pretense. The sovereign heart. Inner sovereignty is not about control. It's about self-honoring. It's knowing you can walk alone and still feel whole. It's choosing alignment over approval. It's realizing that peace is not found in being right, but in being real. You stop asking for permission to exist. You stop waiting for validation to breathe. You stop explaining your light to those who fear brightness. And you begin living not as a reaction, but as a declaration. Story: The Monk and the Bell. In a monastery perched on a mountain, a young monk was assigned to ring the great bell every morning. For years, he did so at sunrise, until one day he asked his teacher, "Master, why must we ring the bell every day?" The old monk smiled, "So that the mountain remembers our presence." Years later, when the young monk became the teacher, he no longer rang the bell. When asked why, he said, "Because now, I am the bell." That is sovereignty, when you no longer need to prove your truth, because your life resonates with it. The courage to be unapologetic. The world will tell you to be humble, but what it often means is, don't outgrow our comfort. Authenticity is not arrogance. It's the natural expression of alignment. To live unapologetically is not to disregard others. It's to refuse to abandon yourself. Every boundary you set, every truth you speak, Every time you choose peace over performance, you're declaring silent revolution, a rebellion without rage, a freedom without noise, the music beneath the noise. The quiet power of truth doesn't need an audience. It doesn't shout, it radiates. You can feel it in someone who walks into a room and needs no introduction, because their presence speaks the language of self-trust. When you are aligned, you no longer chase validation. You attract resonance. You stop performing and start being. You stop hustling to be seen and start glowing naturally. That glow, that still, unwavering peace, is the ultimate rebellion against a world addicted to noise. Story: The Candle and the Wind. A small candle burned quietly in a room full of roaring torches. The torches mocked it, saying, "You're too small. Your light will never matter." But when the wind came, the torches were blown out, and only the small, steady flame remained. The world will try to dim you, but if your fire comes from within, no storm can extinguish it. That's the silent rebellion, the steady flame of truth that survives every gust of noise. The return to wholeness. When you reclaim your voice, something miraculous happens. Life begins to rearrange itself around your truth. The wrong people fade, the right ones appear. The noise thins out, leaving silence, the kind that feels like home. And in that silence, you hear your soul again, not as an echo of who you should be, but as a clear, steady song of who you've always been. Cinematic closing: The Quiet Crown. Picture yourself walking barefoot through the forest at dawn. No audience, no noise, no applause. Just you, breathing, being, belonging. The air is still. The world feels sacred. And for the first time, you realize you don't need to prove your worth to anyone. You are sovereign. You are whole. You are the quiet rebellion made flesh. And as the first light of morning touches your face, you smile, not because the world finally understands you, but because you finally understand yourself. This is the crown of authenticity. Invisible, untouchable, unshakable. The revolution of truth is silent, but its echo reshapes the world. Key takeaways. Authenticity is the highest form of rebellion. The silent revolution begins when you stop betraying yourself for approval. Sovereignty is not isolation, it's inner alignment. Real power doesn't shout, it emanates. The world changes when one person dares to live their truth. Reflection practice: The Mirror of Truth. 1. Sit before a mirror. Look into your eyes, not your reflection, but you. 2. Whisper: Where have I been silent about my truth? 3. Listen, not with judgment, but with compassion. 4. Write one promise to yourself that begins with, "I will no longer betray my soul for." 5. Keep that promise sacred. It is the beginning of your silent rebellion. Chapter 12. The Infinite Within. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the ocean in a drop. Rumi. The quiet after the storm. There comes a moment in every soul's journey when the noise fades. The chase, the struggle, the endless trying, all dissolve into stillness. It's not the silence of emptiness, but the silence of arrival. You have fought your battles. You have burned and been reborn. You have stood alone in the storm, and you've walked through the fire of becoming. Now, as the dust settles, you stand at the threshold of something vast, a horizon within yourself. The infinite, the horizon within. Most people spend their lives searching for something out there. Meaning, validation, love, peace, purpose. But the grandest discovery of all is realizing that everything you've been seeking has been quietly waiting within you all along. The external world, its noise, its mirrors, its storms, was never meant to define you. It was designed to reveal you. Every heartbreak stripped away illusion. Every loss dissolved a layer of falsehood. Every silence became a doorway back to your soul. Now you begin to see. You were never incomplete. You were simply covered by fear, by noise, by the dust of the world. And beneath it all, untouched and unbroken, lives the infinite self, the still center of your being where love, peace, and purpose merge into one breath. Story: The Traveler and the Horizon. There once was a traveler who spent his life chasing the horizon. Every dawn, he would pack his bag and walk toward the line where the sky kissed the earth. But no matter how far he went, the horizon always moved farther away. One evening, exhausted, He sat down by a lake and watched the reflection of the sky in the water. And then he realized the horizon was never something to reach. It was something to see from within. That night, he didn't walk anymore. He simply was. And in that stillness, he discovered that the infinite he was chasing was not a place. It was a state, the union of consciousness and love. When you awaken to your infinite nature, you no longer see yourself as separate from the world. You begin to notice the divine symmetry in everything. The way trees breathe so you can exhale. The way rivers mirror the flow of your own emotions. The way stars shine not above you, but through you. Consciousness is not something you find. It's what you are. Love is not something you chase. It's what flows when you stop resisting yourself. Purpose is not something you invent. It's what unfolds when you align with truth. They are not three separate forces. They are one infinite current moving through you, whispering through your breath, singing through your heartbeat, expressing itself as you, becoming the light. In the earlier chapters, you walk through the shadows, the pain, the breaking, the silence, the fire. But every shadow was training you to recognize light. Every fall was preparing you to rise not as who you were, but as who you've always been beneath it all. You no longer seek light. You become it. You no longer search for meaning. You embody it. This is the ultimate awakening, not the escape from your humanity, but the embrace of your divinity within it. You laugh and cry, love and lose, create and break. And through it all, you remain infinite, a wave remembering it belongs to the sea. Story: The Musician and the Silence. A renowned musician once spent his life composing songs for others. He chased perfection, every note, every rhythm meticulously crafted. But one day he lost his hearing. Devastated, he thought his life was over. Until one night, sitting by the window, he began to feel the vibrations of the world, the hum of the wind, the rhythm of the rain, the pulse of his own heartbeat. And he realized something profound. The music was never in the instrument. It was always in me. From then on, he composed through silence. Not with sound, but with presence. That's what the infinite feels like. A symphony that needs no sound to exist. The Great Surrender. There comes a sacred moment when you stop trying to control life and start flowing with it. When you surrender not out of weakness, but because you finally trust the intelligence that moves the stars. The same intelligence that moves through your veins. Surrender is not giving up. It's giving in to the wisdom of the infinite. You realize you don't have to push the river. You are the river. You don't have to chase destiny. You are destiny, unfolding one breath at a time. The mirror of everything. Look around you. Every person, every moment, every experience is a mirror reflecting back the state of your own consciousness. When you live in fear, you meet conflict. When you live in peace, you meet clarity. When you live in love, the whole world becomes your home. Reality is not happening to you. It's happening through you. You are not a character trapped in the story. You are the awareness writing it. And when you realize this, you no longer fight life. You dance with it. Cinematic moment. The return to the sea. Imagine standing on a quiet beach at dusk. The sky is painted in gold and violet. Waves whispering secrets to the shore. You walk to the edge of the water, feeling the cool tide kiss your feet. You breathe deeply, and suddenly, the line between you and the ocean disappears. You feel it, the pulse of the infinite, the rhythm of creation itself, moving through you, as you, for you. You are the ocean remembering its own depth. You are the sky learning its own vastness. You are the infinite made visible. And as the sun sinks below the horizon, you whisper to yourself, not as prayer, but as remembrance. I am home, legacy of light. You will still walk through challenges. You will still face loss, uncertainty, and change. But now you will meet them differently. Not as a victim, but as consciousness exploring itself. You will no longer ask, why me? But instead, what is this trying to awaken in me? Your life becomes art. Each breath a brushstroke on eternity's canvas. And your legacy won't be what you achieved, but how deeply you lived. How you loved without fear. How you stood in truth when it was easier to hide. How your presence made others remember their own light. That is the infinite within you, expressing itself through the masterpiece called your life. Key takeaways. The infinite isn't found outside, it's awakened within. Love, consciousness, and purpose are not destinations. They are your essence. Surrender is the gateway to divine flow and effortless creation. You are not separate from life. You are life expressing itself. The truest legacy is the light you awaken in others by being fully yourself. Reflection practice. Merging with the infinite. 1. Sit in silence. Close your eyes. 2. Focus on your breath, the in, the out. Notice how it connects you to everything around you. 3. Whisper to yourself, I am not the waves. I am the ocean. 4. Feel the truth of that. Feel the stillness that remains, even when thoughts come and go. 5. Journal this question. How can I live as the infinite, with love, awareness, and purpose in my everyday moments? Let your answer become your next sunrise. Final words. The art of standing alone. Standing alone was never about isolation. It was preparation, because only when you stand alone. Do you remember you were never separate at all? You are the flame and the spark, the drop and the ocean, the question and the answer, the silence and the song. You are infinite, and your very existence is the proof that the universe is still dreaming beautiful dreams. So go now, not to seek the light, but to be it. The art of standing alone was always the art of remembering that you were never truly alone to begin with.